What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 potential trades that we could see before the start of the 2021 NFL season. All that and much more coming your way right now. All right, Nick, as we are getting ready for the start of the season, we take a look at some of the players that have trade rumors swirling above their heads. Maybe they have gotten their position taken by somebody else. Maybe they no longer fit in their system, or simply they just have too much value to be on the team that they're on, and they got to get moved for some compensation. So we're going to start this list, and I want to take a look at one of the biggest names out there on the trade market right now, or expected to be on the trade market right now, and that is outside linebacker and edge defender Khalil Mack. Now, reports came out earlier this week that Khalil Mack had been in trade discussions to go back to the Las Vegas Raiders, as they were pushing extremely hard for him to come back to the Raiders organization after trading him to Chicago just a few years ago. Now, Khalil Mack finds himself in the midst of multiple trade rumors, as the Chicago Bears are looking at themselves and saying, we may not be able to re-sign this guy at the end of his contract. We have to win now, or he's not going to be with us much longer. And Khalil Mack may not fit their timeline. So it looks like Khalil Mack could be on his way out. What potential trade opportunities do you see for Khalil Mack?
I think one team in particular that stands out to me is the New York Jets. After the loss of Carl Lawson, the defensive end they just signed a massive contract to, he's out for the season with a ruptured Achilles, which is a big injury that's going to be very tough for him to come back from. And in that absence, Khalil Mack could be a big add to this defense that could use edge pressure desperately. And I think Khalil Mack, he's getting older in age. His price isn't what it used to be. He's not going for 3 first-round picks anymore. I think this is a price that a guy like Joe Douglas, the general manager for the New York Jets, would be willing to pay. He'd be willing to give up maybe a first-round pick and then some for Khalil Mack, because Khalil Mack, he still has a lot to offer. He's still putting up double-digit sack seasons consistently, and I think that he could be a really good person on this defense where there are a lot of holes. He could help solidify this defensive line alongside Quinnen Williams, and I think that it would help the Jets be a little bit more successful than they're currently expected to be.
I take a look at another team that is really looking for help on the edge, and that would be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are without Melvin Ingram, and opposite Joey Bosa, there's really no threat to get to the quarterback. And if you can have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the same defensive line, specifically in a division when you're facing off against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, looking at everything that they did to solidify their offensive line, now you're going to put 2 absolute monsters on the field against them and really test what they were able to do this offseason. I believe that the Chargers have not only have the cap space, but they have the wherewithal to go and get this deal done. You have the young quarterback in Justin Herbert. You're not paying him all that much money. Use the money that you're saving on the quarterback to go get a guy like Khalil Mack. Use the draft capital to get it done and be competitive not only in this division, but if you get Khalil Mack, I could see a potential Super Bowl run. I believe that the Los Angeles Chargers could really utilize the skill set that Khalil Mack has to offer, and I would love to see him in Chargers blue and gold. Next up, we have Tita and Zac Ertz. Zac Ertz has been in the midst of trade rumors for what seems to be forever at this point, but it's been the last couple of seasons. And taking a look at the trade market for Zac Ertz, not a whole lot really stands out as of right now. But if I had to take one look at a team, I would say that the Arizona Cardinals truly stand out to me. The Arizona Cardinals have everything that you could ask for right now. They have a 2-headed monster at running back. They have 3 deep wide receivers. They have an offensive line that is going to help them. Obviously, Kyler Murray, an incredible quarterback. Let's get that tight end situation resolved. When you have Max Williams as your number 1, no disrespect to Max Williams, but he isn't the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land. I believe that the versatility that Zach Ertz can provide to this football team can truly unlock their potential. His ability, not only as a run blocker, but also a pass catcher that can stretch the middle of the field, could really open up this offense, not only for the running game, but the rest of this offense, including DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, and every other weapon that they have at their disposal. I believe that Kyler Murray could really utilize a tight end that he could depend upon every single play, and Zach Ertz was that guy for a long time and can still be that guy. He just needs to get out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, Zach Ertz has a ton of potential, and it really is being wasted in Philadelphia right now. And I think that a big spot where he could land is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, it's not the flashiest place to be, but there is a big hole at that tight end position, and Zach Ertz could be a big fill right there, especially now with Trevor Lawrence being named the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars officially. I think Trevor Lawrence needs a couple more weapons on that offense because the wide receivers are just performing average. They're not standing out. And Trevor Lawrence, if you watched the preseason game so far, he's looking a little bit rattled back there. I think he needs that sure-handed weapon, that big tight end that he can rely upon, and that is Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz has been on the market long enough where his price has been dropping, and as we get closer to the season, the Eagles are going to be willing to offload him for a little bit less than they were asking. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars have plenty to give them, and Zach Ertz is an immediate fill at a massive position, and it would go a long way on this team. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars should definitely inquire about getting Zach Ertz.
100%. Like I said before, I believe that Zach Ertz just truly needs to get out of Philadelphia. His time there has expired and he needs a change of scenery. It'd be great for him to go to one of these two places that he can be utilized as a tight end, one, because he still has that skill set and that potential. Next up, we have linebacker Jaylon Smith. Jalen Smith has seemed to fall out of favor in the Dallas Cowboys system with the drafting of Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch coming on as their strongest linebacker. Jalen Smith no longer seems like a viable option in this two linebacker set that they seem to be running. Now, taking a look at the Dallas Cowboys defense, obviously they could utilize all the talent that they can get, but with Dan Quinn's system there, doesn't look like Jalen Smith is going to be starting, and you can't have a guy like that sitting on the bench when you can trade him for some decent compensation. And so when I take a look at Jalen Smith, Nick, I want to hear from you. Where do you believe Jalen Smith would make the most sense?
Again, I'm not going to go with a flashy place, but the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that have been improving their defense slowly over the last 2 years, and they've been focusing on the defensive line and the secondary, but they haven't been focusing on the linebackers, and I think that's where they could use a little bit of help. Jalen Smith being the Mike linebacker for the Cowboys for a while now, I think that he could translate over to the Bengals, where they are absolutely depleted at the position. He is a massive improvement over what they have right now, and I think that he could help really solidify this defense and help them make the next step. The Bengals are on their way, but they are a few pieces away. I really believe that Jalen Smith could help them get a little bit closer.
Yeah, I like the Bengals a lot. That was actually a team that I really pegged for him, and he can start right away. I actually like Jalen Smith going to the crosstown rivals or the cross-state rivals in the Houston Texans. I believe that the Texans are in the midst of a minor rebuild. They have the cap space. They're looking at the potential for bringing on star players for cheap and just seeing what they can get and getting a middle linebacker position, especially with the talent of Jalen Smith, somebody who's young and active and can still be a starter in this league for a long time to come. I believe he would really help kickstart their drive to getting this roster rebounded from the Deshaun Watson debacle. I believe that he is going to help lead this defense back with Whitney Merciless still there. I believe they'd be an incredible 1-2 punch at the middle level of this defense. And listen, it doesn't hurt for the Texans to take a look at him and say, does he fit our system or not? Because if he doesn't, you turn around and you trade him again. So at this point, I believe that the Texans could really utilize Jaylon Smith. Next up, we have outside linebacker Dee Ford. Dee Ford, known for some very interesting plays in his career, and most notably, in my mind, for jumping off sides when the Chiefs could have gone to the Super Bowl. Instead, the Patriots got yet another shot at redemption, and they took full advantage of it. Dee Ford being the center of a lot of different plays has not been able to stay healthy during his time in San Francisco. And I believe that it's time for a change for Dee Ford. Taking a look at some of the possibilities here, I look at a team that has already been mentioned in today's video, the New York Jets. The New York Jets could really utilize somebody off the edge. And Nick, you talked about Carl Lawson going down with that massive injury. Well, Dee Ford really wanted to work with Robert Salah. Well, if he can go to New York and really work with Salah there, they have a match made in heaven, and somebody who can really come in and just be plugged in and play right away because he understands the system, he understands the keys that he has to look for at that position, working with Robert Salah as his defensive coordinator in San Francisco. I believe that this is a marriage made in heaven. It's just, will Joe Douglas pay the price that will take to get Dee Ford and pay that contract?
Look, the Jets are always a good option just because they have so many holes. But I think a team that's actually competitive and potential Super Bowl team, the Ravens, who lost Matt Judon and Yannick Ngakoue in the offseason, they only replaced one of those roles by getting Odafe Owe in the draft, and you still have another hole there. And Dee Ford can fill that edge role. He can play outside linebacker where Matt Judon was, or he can play edge where Yannick Ngakoue was. So he has that versatility that they like in their outside linebacker, their edge players. So I think Dee Ford has a lot to offer for this Baltimore Ravens team, and they also like a lot of speed at their linebacking position. You put Dee Ford next to Patrick Queen, I think that's a lot of speed that can go sideline to sideline, and it's going to help every part of their defense, whether it's the run or the pass or anything in between. Dee Ford is a guy that can do it all, and his versatility on this team could really help them continue being one of the most dominant defenses in the NFL.
Finally, we have cornerback CJ Henderson. CJ Henderson, a former first round pick not too long ago for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it just seems like, not that he has fallen out of favor, but they went out and they got immense talent this offseason, really loaded up on talent in the back end of that defense, and bringing on players like Tyson Campbell, Trey Herndon, and Shaq Griffin. Those guys have leapfrogged him on the depth chart. Now CJ Henderson finds himself as the cornerback number 4, and he is too talented, has way too much potential to be the CB4 on this roster. They need to trade him and get some draft compensation immediately. So CJ Henderson on the trade block, definitely a lot of teams that would be interested in him. Nick, who do you think would make the most sense for a CJ Henderson trade?
I'm going to stick with the AFC North and move over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that has had depleted secondary, especially at the cornerback position. They need somebody that can help Minkah Fitzpatrick in that secondary, and I think CJ Henderson can do that. Joe Hayden is their CB1 right now, but he is no spring chicken. He is only got a couple more years left in the league before he is retired for good, and they need somebody that can come in and be their CB1 for the foreseeable future to continue moving with Minkah Fitzpatrick. CJ Henderson can be that guy. CJ Henderson had a great rookie season, and just because they brought in all this talent doesn't mean that he's actually playing at a CB4 level. No, he is still playing as a really solid cornerback, and his skill set is going to get ruined if he stays with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has a fit on this Pittsburgh Steelers roster, and I think that they could really use his services. He could fit really well in the system. I think that they could really work well together.
I like CJ Henderson a lot. I liked him coming out of the draft and really saw what he could do out of the University of Florida. But CJ Henderson just screams Dallas Cowboy to me. The Dallas Cowboys need a bona fide CB2 opposite Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is somebody you can rely upon to lock down his opposing wide receiver. And if you get CJ Henderson to play opposite of him, good luck throwing on this defense because you already have Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch and Jaylon Smith at the linebacker position. You have DeMarcus Lawrence at the defensive end position. So they would be absolutely stockpiled, ready to go. And this team is really another cornerback away from truly competing for the playoffs and seeing where they can go from there. I would love to see CJ Henderson in Cowboy blue and white. I believe that he would provide such a lift to this organization. And with Dak Prescott coming back from his injury, they could utilize as much help as they can get on the defensive side of the ball. You know they're going to put up points. Let's see if they can stop somebody. CJ Henderson will go a long way in doing just that. All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below where you see some of these fits, where you see some of these players being traded, and if you see some of these players being traded. Let us know in the comments down below. All right, that'll be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.